Hey guys, Mike here. In this video, I'm going to explain a different perspective on how to view chain attacks. What prompted the idea for this video is that I've been seeing comments saying, I can't stand chain attacks, they're so unreliable, they have that 80% chance to hit and they're so hard to plan around. And I'm here to give you a different perspective on chain attacks that will make you like chain attacks and how to reliably plan around them, so you can get your attacks in and making sure you're killing whatever enemy you're trying to kill. All right, so here's the motivation. Chain attacks are so unreliable. I hate them. I can't plan around them. It's something to that sentiment. Now, okay, let's establish some facts here. So, chain attacks have an 80% chance to hit. Right, it's when your backup unit is in attack range of the enemy you're targeting. And for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to use true RN. I'm not going to use hybrid RN. Even though I'm using true RN, it actually works in your favor that hybrid RN is in fact the random number method of how the game rolls hit rates and stuff like that. So it actually works in your favor, but I'm just going to use true RN just to simplify things a little bit. All right, so first, let's look at the chance or the probability of landing at least one chain, because I feel this is the way you have to think about it. So first, always consider two chain attacks, right? Always allocate yourself to your backup unit to two chain attack opportunities, right? Not just one, because if it's just one, it's just 80% chance, right? And yes, I would slightly agree. That's a little bit hard to plan around. I mean, 80% is, that's not, ideally it'd be like 90%, right? So I would say allocate two chain attacks. Like if you're going to plan around chain attacks, allocate and expect your backup to do two chain attacks. And that's actually pretty easy to do, because once you move your backup in range and you have a bunch of other units starting to attack the target unit, usually a boss, then you can get up to like 4, 5, 6, maybe even up to 10 chain attacks. So I think this is a pretty reasonable assumption that you can just batch and think of one chain attack as two chain attacks, because like I said, you can get a lot of chain attacks in. All right, so given that you're considering two chain attacks, then you have to consider the probability here of landing at least one of those chain attacks, right? So both of them could hit, one of them could hit, or none of them could hit, right? Now, that probability of landing at least one chain attack, at least getting one hit, is simply 1 minus the probability of missing both chain attacks, right? Because if you miss both chain attacks, then that doesn't satisfy this criteria, and all other criteria satisfy that result, right? You can either hit both chain attacks, or you can maybe just only land one. Right? So that's just 1 minus the probability of missing both chain attacks. And the probability of missing both chain attacks is 0.2 times 0.2, because it's a 80% hit, so it's a 0.2% chance of missing, right? And 0.2 times 0.2, that's 0.04, and it's just 1 minus 0.04, and that's 96%, right? And that makes sense because, if you have an 80% chance to hit one and say you miss, there's, you kind of have like that backup chain attack, that second chain attack to increase your odds of at least hitting one chain attack. So that's why it's a little higher at 96%. And the good thing about thinking of it this way is that 96% chance, especially even at true RN, it's even actually better at hybrid RN. This is still a very good thing that you can plan around. It's fairly easy to plan around. So if you just always assume that you're going to miss at least one chain attack, then alternatively, you can say for every two chain attacks, I will at least land one, right? And that's a 96% chance of happening for true RN. And this is incredibly easy to plan around. Like I find on maddening mode, you typically, I would consider a 90% hit rate pretty reasonable and pretty good. Especially early game, like, you're hovering around 70, 80% hit. And so a 96% chance is pretty good. And, like I said, this is only for landing at least one chain attack out of two chain attacks. And you can just, like I said, assume you're going to miss one, and But out of those chain attacks, you'll get 96% chance to at least hit one. And that's good, because if you do get the second chain attack in, and you hit both of them, then you can think of that second chain attack as a bonus, right? So it's just extra damage, it's just bonus. Now, I will agree that if you're trying to plan for a unit to get a specific final hit on the boss that you're trying to train up, then yeah, maybe that extra chain attack can kind of screw up your plans. I will concede that. But in terms of like actually, more important things, which is like actually beating the boss and stuff like that, I find like this is extremely reliable. Planning around this 96% chance of hitting at least one of 2 chain attacks is very reliable. And like I said, the large amount of chain attacks that you get throughout the whole game, it will average out, and it will average out to 96% hit rate for at least hitting 1 chain attack out of 2 chain attacks. And just as a little bonus, the probability of landing both chains is just 0.8 times 0.8, which is 64% chance to hit. So, that's not super reliable to really bank on making sure you're hitting both chain attacks. I can agree with that. But if you think of it like this, where out of 2 chain attacks, the probability of landing at least 1 is 96%, I find that's incredibly reliable to plan around. And if you just think of it like that, then I think you'll learn to appreciate chain attacks a little bit better and appreciate them, and you can strategize around them and plan around them. And for those people who don't like to rely on RNG that much, I find this is an extremely reasonable and reliable way to think of chain attacks. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. The mathematicians, please correct me if I'm wrong with my math, but I feel this is correct. And then I'll, if I'm wrong, I'll just pin a comment or something like that. But this is how I like to think of chain attacks, and I find it work extremely well. And I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.